Hey folks, Randy here with Dolan Cut and Trim. So we're going to do a repair today that's so easy. I literally was putting frozen chicken on the grill at the same time as I was doing the repair. I really like making barbecue chicken, and it's actually really easy to just make it with a frozen bag of chicken. I know it'd probably be better if I'd used fresh chicken, but you know what, man? Frozen's cheaper, so doing what we gotta do. You know what I mean? So once we get this chicken on the grill, I'll be able to get started on this job. So you guys know my BG50 blower was broken down. It just stopped running. It felt like it had compression. Everything felt good. It just wouldn't start. So I did some research, did some looking around to discover that the wire on the ignition coil was snapped in two. No idea how that's even possible, but it's what happened. So the nice thing about Stihl is they include their nice handy dandy Stihl tool, and you can pretty much do anything that you need to do on a Stihl piece of equipment with this tool, including replacing the ignition coil. This is such an easy job. Like, it's almost one of those jobs that's not even worth doing a repair video on. Now, just for the record, I had already taken the shroud off previously when I was trying to figure out what was going on, so that's why you didn't see me take that off. Excuse me. So anyway, so now we're ready to take the original coil off. And the only issue I had here was that's a very strong magnet, and the wires were actually on there pretty good. It's better be too tight than too loose, I guess, but goodness. And then I had this little keeper thing that I had to pop off and then immediately lost. Yep, it's gone. We never find it again. I then had to take the remaining piece of the wire off the spark plug. This was a bit of a pain in the tuchus, and I know what you're saying, Randy. I think if you just grab some pliers, that'd be pretty easy. And that's true, but my pliers were like at least 20 feet away, and I didn't feel like walking over there. I mean, I'm grilling. I'm obviously winding down at this point. So I just used the Stihl tool to try and just kind of like push it up and off, which worked. So now it's time to put the new ignition coil on, and this is actually pretty easy. The hardest part was gapping it, and I did it the not right way, which you'll see here in a little bit. But basically, you put the existing wires back in, and then you grab your screws and put them in the hole and screw them in. And I guess we'll just wait for me to get caught up with my narration. So I'm screwing them in. I think at one point I think I do screw them in too tight, and I had to loosen it back up in order to get it adjusted properly. Because you can't just put a coil in, you have to gap it. And I'll show you guys how I did this here in a second. I just wanted to get the coil in there. And I'm not going to lie, part of me was thinking, you know what, I'll just try and eyeball it. But with this magnet being so strong, that was not going to work. There was just no way to do it. And I was like, you know what, it's either my gap's either going to be way too big, or it's going to not be big enough, and I'm going to end up breaking something. So because when this coil is too close, it's literally banging against the flywheel, which wouldn't be good. So now I'm kind of getting it tight and realizing it's way too tight. So we're going to loosen it back up. And I was like, you know what? There's no way for me to gap this without using something at least moderately appropriate for this. So what can I use? I usually have a business card in my pocket, but I know there's nothing in there. So instead, I'm using this piece of cardboard from the box. And so basically, even this was difficult because that magnet was so strong. So what I ended up having to do was kind of like spin it, like put the business card on the flywheel and then kind of spin the magnet so that it would go between them. It was when I remember doing this, it was actually a lot harder than that. And so now I can let them just press against each other and then tighten everything down, which is, just the two screws. And then just pull the little piece of paper out, or piece of cardboard. Technically, that's not the correct way to do it, but it does, it is fine. And I've been using this thing for 2 days since I did this, and it's been perfect. And so now the only thing really left to do is to put the shroud on. But it's funny, like, how much when I use stuff, like, just how much I don't remember what does what, like, because it's just like all muscle memory. So when I got this thing put back together, I couldn't remember where the choke went. And so it ended up being like it took several pulls for this thing to start running before it started running fine. But once I got everything figured out and the muscle memory came back, it was amazing how fast the muscle memory left. Once all that was all taken care of, the sucker started right up. Matter of fact, let's give this a listen. I'm just going to go ahead and go away and let you listen. And since that was handled, I can get back to cooking the chicken. Now, it turned out, for some reason, the propane wasn't flowing right. So these chicken, it was only going up to like 200 degrees. And, it's not like I'm set up here for smoking. So I was flipping stuff over, but I knew it wasn't cooking right. So I ended up having to mess around with the propane tank. And when I unscrewed and rescrewed in the propane tank, everything was fine. I don't know what all that was about, but who cares? Thank you so much for watching. It's Randy with Dolan Cut and Trim. And yeah, the chicken was really good. I used this South Carolina barbecue sauce. It was pretty banging. So have a good one.